Today we're embarking on, well, a really fascinating exploration into the life of Louis XIV and, of course, the monumental creation of Versailles.
Yeah, it's quite the story.
Our mission really is to unpack how this one king's absolute power, his profound personal passions, and yes, that includes his famously complicated private life, and his just relentless pursuit of magnificence fundamentally shaped not just a building, but an entire era, and maybe even the identity of France itself.
It's a truly captivating subject, and we've got intimate memoirs from people right there close to him, alongside the official court records.
Which gives us this multifaceted view, right? Sometimes astonishingly personal.
Exactly. You get both the grand pronouncements and the behind-the-scenes whispers.
And what an extraordinary figure he was. I mean, we're talking about a king so powerful, he literally took the sun as his emblem.
The Sun King. It wasn't just a nickname.
Not at all. So dominant, he made the proudest aristocrats, bend to his will. And apparently so driven by desire that, well, no single companion could hold his attention for long.
He had, let's say, enormous energies in all areas.
Right. And we'll also get into the surprising origins of Versailles itself, which, believe it or not, started as little more than a mosquito-infested swamp.
It really did. Which is kind of the first paradox, isn't it? Louis, he's just 27, decides to build his brand new palace there in Versailles, a marshland, near a pretty unremarkable town.
So what did people think, his courtiers?
Oh, they were far from impressed. Many thought he deliberately picked the worst site possible.
Just to prove a point, like, his will was stronger than nature.
Sort of, yeah, to show he could impose his vision on anything. But there was also perhaps a more sentimental reason.
Ah, the connection to his father.
Exactly. His father's old hunting lodge was there, a place he'd known as a boy. It was on a bit of a hill, but
not exactly suited for a colossal palace, right? The ground was uneven.
Precisely. That was the huge challenge. And he was explicitly advised against trying to build something massive on that kind of terrain.
Yet, being an absolute monarch, he didn't like being told no, did he? Especially when it clashed with his ambitions.
He really didn't. He seemed to actively dislike advice that countered what he wanted. He was thinking big right from the start. So he hired Louis Laval, the architect.
Okay, so the ambition was there. But let's talk about his self-perception, this Sun King idea. How did he see himself?
Well, like all monarchs back then, he believed his authority came directly from God. Divine right,
Standard stuff for the time.
Right. But Louis, he took it further. The sources suggest he felt he was, quote, pretty much a god himself.
Wow. But not arrogantly. That sounds contradictory.
It does, but apparently not. It wasn't personal hubris, more like. He saw it as his sacred duty, his role in the cosmic order.
A living embodiment of divine right, then. And he definitely understood performance, didn't he? He grew up in a theater-mad age.
Absolutely. And those dancing lessons he had as a young man were apparently transformative.
Gave him confidence.
Huge confidence boost. He became a really accomplished dancer, loved performing for the court, and physically, well, descriptions say, astonishingly handsome. Long golden hair, almost cherubic face.
So he looks the part, and then he deliberately chose Apollo, the Greek sun god, as his role model.
Exactly. Symbolizing both benefaction, the life-giving sun, and domination. It wasn't just a cool nickname. The Sun King persona was meticulously crafted. It became his reality and everyone else's.
And this sort of performance extended to his personal life, too, right? While he's pouring energy into building Versailles, he's also got time for other passions.
Oh, always. Women were a huge part of his life. Even though he was married to Queen Marie-Therese, the court absolutely expected him to have mistresses. Lots of them.
And the sources say he approached women with tremendous enthusiasm. It wasn't just physical.
No, it seems he genuinely enjoyed their company, their conversation, elegance, wit, refinement. Apparently, he even loved it when they teased him a bit.
But alongside that, there was also this tremendous sexual appetite, the gusto.
Enormous gusto, yeah. In everything he did, including love. There are these anecdotes, maybe a bit exaggerated, but they paint a picture.
Like the one about impatience.
Right. If a mistress took too long getting ready, he might just, turn his attention elsewhere. A lady-in-waiting, a servant, whoever was convenient.
Wow. So for a French king, having a mistress wasn't just tolerated, it was almost expected. A sign of virility.
Very much so. And his first official mistress, maîtresse en titre, was Louise de la Vallière. She was a lady-in-waiting, apparently quite guileless and charming.
And what drew him to her?
Her genuine adoration for him, that seemed to be irresistible to the young king.
So a real connection. At first, anyway, they had children.
2 children, yes. And he made her a duchess. But the feeling is it was more of a young man's crush, not a deep, lasting passion.
What did he take away from that first, maybe more innocent relationship before things got more complex?
Well, it was genuine, but maybe a bit naive. For a king, though, romantic crushes had to take a backseat to strategy. His marriage to Queen Marie-Therese was politically vital.
Peace with Spain, right?
Yeah.
And heirs.
Exactly, securing the dynasty. He did feel a duty towards her, though. Apparently made love to her quite frequently.
And the courtiers noticed.
Oh, yes. They'd nudge each other at chapel the next day because she'd look particularly pleased. But the thing is, the queen, she just didn't have the looks or education or spirit or charm to really hold Louis's interest.
And she just accepted his affairs.
She had to. It was pretty standard for royal women then. Infidelity was almost part of the job description for the king.
So what happened to Louise, the first mistress? Did she just fade away?
Well, Louis eventually got bored. She stayed at court for a while, trying desperately to get his attention back, but it was no use.
Sad. And then someone else caught his eye.
Oh, yes. After a military victory against Spain, Louis threw this huge party at Versailles, and it was basically a showcase for the woman who'd replaced Louise, Madame de Montespan.
Ah, Montespan. She sounds like a different character altogether.
Completely different, widely seen as one of the most beautiful women in France, vivacious, loved pleasure, especially sex, a tremendous goer, as one source rather bluntly puts it.
Sounds like she was more Louis' speed at that point.
The sources suggest she was absolutely the right mistress on offer for him. Even ambassadors felt she added to the whole Sun King legend, his magnificence.
Okay, so his personal life is this unfolding drama. At the same time, the stage itself, Versailles, is taking shape. Let's go back to the building. Laveau, the architect, wanted to tear down the old hunting lodge.
He did. His initial plans involved demolishing it entirely. But Louis, again, being sentimental or maybe just stubborn,
He insisted on keeping his father's chateau.
exactly, sent Laveau back to the drawing board. So the architect came up with this idea of the envelope, basically enclosing the old, smaller chateau within massive new buildings.
And it's a totally different style too, right? Much grander.
Oh, much grander. Italianate, classical, completely overshadowing the old brick and stone lodge.
And then there were the gardens. That sounds like another nightmare.
A whole other level of challenge, yes.
Yeah.
André Lenotre, the chief gardener, brilliant designer, but the site he had to work with at Versailles was terrible.
What was wrong with it?
No natural views to speak of, kind of hemmed in by a valley, and crucially, it lacked the mature trees Louis wanted for his grand avenues and vistas.
And Louis wasn't the patient type, was he? Didn't want to wait decades for saplings to grow.
Not a chance. He wanted grandeur now.
So the solution was just incredible. Uprooting fully grown trees from other parts of France.
Yes. Using these specially designed horse-drawn contraptions, imagine hauling massive, mature trees across terrible, unpaved roads for miles and miles.
It's mind-boggling, not just demanding, but an immense feat of logistics and engineering for the 17th century.
Absolutely. Mobilizing hundreds of teams, building these special machines. It just shows the scale of resources and manpower he could command. His will made manifest. Again.
But the human cost. You mentioned the envelope construction involved tens of thousands of workers.
Up to 40,000 at its peak, yes. And it was incredibly dangerous work.
No health and safety, I'd assume.
Practically none. The mortality rate was tragically high. Falls, accidents, disease.
And they hid the deaths.
To avoid demoralizing the workforce, yes. Corpses were apparently removed quietly at night.
That's just chilling. It really puts the magnificence in a different light, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And amidst all this, Madame de Montespan is living in incredible luxury.
More rooms than the Queen, even.
Get this. Montespan had a lavish suite of 20 rooms. The Queen only had 11.
20. And including a bathroom. That was rare then, wasn't it?
Highly unusual. Apparently, she and Louis spent many happy hours there, and she was quite jealous of Louis's other dalliances.
Which Louis liked. Strange.
He rather liked it, yes. Maybe it fed his ego, But there's also that story about the mother confronting him.
Right. Her son died working on the site, and she just let him have it.
Directly confronted the Sun King himself, screaming at him in grief and anger. He was apparently stunned, just said, "Is that me?" She was hustled away quickly, of course.
Wow. It just highlights that stark contrast, doesn't it? Absolute power meets raw human suffering.
Exactly. Now, Louis's reason for moving the whole government and the top nobles to Versailles, that wasn't just about luxury, was it?
No, pure strategy. He wanted to keep an eye on them, stop them plotting back on their estates.
His message was pretty clear. Forget rebellion. If you want power, influence, favors,
Yeah.
you come here. You pay court to me.
And this wasn't just about being present. It was about constant competition, right? Jostling for rooms, for status.
Constantly. Who got the bigger apartment? Who was closer to the king's own chambers? It became an obsession for the nobility. They had to be at court.
It was brilliant in a ruthless way. He turned everyday life into a performance to keep them occupied.
Precisely. Like the royal levee, the king getting up in the morning.
Where nobles would fight over handing him his shirt.
Literally quarrel over the honor. And the royal coucher at night, the going to bed ceremony, was the same in reverse. It kept them busy, focused on trivialities.
Instead of raising armies back home.
Exactly. Prevented them from causing trouble in the provinces. Even mealtimes were a performance. Nobles would stand there watching him eat, hoping for a word.
Complete control. Exercised through ritual and proximity.
Yeah.
But behind the gilded facade, Versailles wasn't always glamorous, was it?
Not at all. For all the grandeur, the sources paint a picture of chaos, too. Constant dust from ongoing construction, the smell of wet plaster hanging in the air.
And at night.
At night, it was the great unrolling of mattresses. Armies of servants, guards, minor courtiers just sleeping on the floor in hallways, antechambers, wherever they could find space.
And the facilities.
Let's just say the lavatory arrangements were pretty basic. Servants, even some courtiers, apparently thought nothing of relieving themselves in corridors or stairwells.
Good grief. So you've got this incredible palace dripping with gold, but it smells like, well, like a badly managed farmyard sometimes.
That's probably not far off, a shocking contrast. Yet, amidst this, fashion was incredibly important.
A way to display status, right? To stand out in the crowd.
Absolutely. Meticulously observed. Louis himself was a trendsetter, introducing high-heeled shoes, partly because he wasn't very tall.
And Madame de Montespan influenced fashion, too. Surprisingly practical, almost.
Yes, the déshabillé. Basically, a sort of elegant tunic worn over trousers, easy to slip off quickly, reputedly for the king's convenience, given his impatience.
Always comes back to Louis's desires.
Yeah.
But beyond the court itself, he wanted Versailles to be more, didn't he? A symbol for France.
Definitely. A showcase for French manufacturing, French artistry. He deliberately set out to rival Italy as the center of taste and the arts in Europe.
And he had a team for that, an image-making team.
Led by Charles Lebrun, yes. Intellectuals, writers, artists. Their job was to craft the image of Louis as this conquering hero, this divine ruler, drawing on Jupiter, Apollo, all the powerful symbols.
And the ultimate expression of this was the Hall of Mirrors, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The stunning achievement of the architect Mansart and Lebrun, 6 years of intense work.
Creating that dream, wonderful light, as it was described.
Just impressive and astonishing. It really cemented Versailles as the ultimate symbol of French glory and Louis's absolute power.
You mentioned Louis's amazing energies earlier. Hunting, council meetings, love life, all multiple times a day. He worked incredibly hard.
He really did. But even he wasn't immune to illness. He developed a serious condition, an anal fistula.
Which sounds unpleasant, but was it dangerous back then?
Extremely dangerous. A painful infection. Basically a channel from the bowel to the skin. Untreated in the 17th century, almost certainly fatal.
So what could they do? Surgery.
Surgery was the only option, but incredibly risky, very poor success rate. His doctors actually devised a new surgical instrument just for him.
And they practiced first.
On others, yes.
Yeah.
Which is rather grim. And then the operation itself. Imagine, no anesthetic.
Unbelievable agony. How did he handle it?
With extraordinary self-control and dignity, apparently, just gritted his teeth. And the sources say he actually held a council meeting that same night. Pale, sweating, but he did it.
Just reinforces that image of unwavering control, doesn't it? Even over his own body.
It really does. He recovered, amazingly. But his success and fame, well, it created enemies. France got drawn into incredibly costly wars.
Draining the treasury.
Hugely. They even started quietly melting down some of the solid silver furniture and decorations at Versailles to pay the soldiers.
Wow. Things must have been bad.
They got worse. The War of Spanish Succession lasted 12 long years, brought France almost to ruin. Huge cost in lives and money.
And meanwhile, back at court, what was happening with Madame de Montespan? Her star was fading.
Definitely fading. After 9 pregnancies, she'd become, as the sources delicately put it, blousy. She was drinking heavily, gambling, throwing
Not
tantrums.
the image Louis wanted anymore, especially as he was changing.
Exactly. Louis himself was undergoing this profound personal transformation towards piety, towards religion. He started seeing his double adultery married man, married mistress as a terrible sin, a sacrilege, a huge scandal weighing on him.
And that's when Madame de Maintenon enters the picture.
Yes, she was initially the governess to his illegitimate children with Montespan, a very different woman.
How so?
Pious, quiet, highly intelligent. She didn't offer him passion, but calm, intellectual companionship and moral guidance. She slowly seduced him in a completely different way.
And after the queen died.
After Queen Marie-Therese died, Louis, increasingly focused on his soul and salvation, secretly married Maintenon. Secretly.
A morganatic wedding. Because of their vastly different social status, she couldn't officially become queen or share his rank publicly, but in the eyes of God and Louis, it was a legitimate marriage.
So, did her influence change the atmosphere at Versailles?
Profoundly. In Louis's later years, under Maintenon's sway, Versailles became a much more, well, chilly, tedious place. Life became an endless choreography of etiquette and ritual, but without the earlier zest, more somber, more focused on religion.
And his final years were marked by tragedy, too.
Immense personal sorrow. A series of sudden deaths wiped out much of his family, his son, his eldest grandson, and his wife's their young son. The line of succession suddenly looked fragile, and he was haunted by the legacy of those wars.
Did he show this grief?
Maintenon wrote about him weeping privately, a rare glimpse of the man behind the Sun King mask.
And then his own death. He was quite old.
76. After reigning for an astonishing 72 years, one of the longest reigns in European history, he died from a gangrenous infection in his leg.
And even his death was a performance. Right to the end. A public event surrounded by the court. Maintenon wasn't initially there at the very end, but she did come back.
And his last words to his heir.
His 5-year-old great-grandson, the future Louis XV. Very poignant. He apparently said, "Be a good king," but added, "I have loved war too much. Do not imitate me in that."
Wow. A powerful, almost heartbreaking admission at the very end.
It really is a moment of reflection on a monumental life.
So looking back, Louis XIV's legacy, it's more than just Versailles, the building, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It's the glorious monuments. Yes, the beautiful art, the paintings, but it's also this enduring sense of identity for France. He really embodies the idea of the greatness of France.
Imposing his will on the world with such style, such splendor, and Versailles was the perfect stage for that.
The ideal theater set, as our sources put it, the place where he could assert his absolute authority, make sure everyone knew he was the king and they were his subjects.
It's so clear that his intense personality, that relentless drive for magnificence in all things, his complicated relationships, it's all woven into the very fabric of Versailles. It explains why it is the way it is.
Absolutely. The man and the palace are inseparable.
So as we wrap up, it makes you think, doesn't it? When we picture Versailles, we see the gold, the mirrors, the pure luxury.
The absolute splendor.
But our journey today shows this other side. The incredible human cost, the rigid control, the dirt and discomfort behind the scenes.
That contrast is really stark.
So the final thought maybe is, what does this contrast tell us? About the real nature of power, about legacy, both back then and maybe even now. Something for you to ponder.
Mad show, let's go, open up your mind and grow. Facts and stories, things you never know. Every episode, we light the glow. Step into the world of Mad Show. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mad Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow. New ideas begin to shine. Breaking limits, crossing lines. Every moment feels divine. In the world of Mad Show time. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mad Show. Lights so bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow.